What if I told you that hidden within the folds of ancient wisdom lies a power so profound, so transformative, that it has shaped the very fabric of human existence? And yet, it has been forgotten, buried beneath centuries of neglect and misunderstanding. This is the power of the sacred feminine archetypes, a force that has guided civilizations, inspired myths, and whispered truths to those who dared to listen. But today, in a world dominated by imbalance and disconnection, this sacred power has been overshadowed, its wisdom reduced to fragments, its essence misunderstood. And yet it waits, patiently, quietly, for those who are ready to remember. Have you ever wondered why so many ancient cultures revered goddesses, priestesses, and feminine deities? Why they wove stories of creation, destruction, and renewal around figures like Isis, Kali, and Sophia? These weren't just myths or symbols, they were keys to understanding the profound energies that flow through all of existence, energies that we have forgotten how to access. In this video, we will journey into the heart of the sacred feminine. We will explore its ancient roots, uncover the archetypes that embody its essence, and reveal how these archetypes hold the power to transform not only our individual lives, but the collective consciousness of humanity. Together, we will delve into the mysteries of the Maiden, the Mother, the Crone, and beyond. Archetypes that represent the cycles of life, the depths of intuition, and the boundless creativity of the universe. We will uncover how these energies are not just abstract concepts, but living forces that can guide us, heal us, and awaken us to our true potential. So, if you've ever felt a longing for something deeper, a sense that there is a wisdom just out of reach, waiting to be rediscovered, then stay with me, because the sacred feminine is calling and it's time to remember. Let us begin. To understand the sacred feminine archetypes, we must first journey back in time, back to an era when the world was alive with the rhythms of nature, and humanity lived in harmony with the cycles of the earth. In those ancient days, the sacred feminine was not just a concept, it was a way of life, a lens through which people understood the mysteries of existence. Across cultures and continents, the feminine was revered as the source of creation, the keeper of wisdom, and the embodiment of life's cyclical nature. In ancient Mesopotamia, the goddess Inanna ruled as the queen of heaven and earth, embodying both sensuality and sovereignty. In Egypt, Isis was the great mother and magician, a healer and protector who held the secrets of life and death. In Hinduism, the fierce and compassionate Kali danced the cosmic dance of destruction and renewal, while in Greek mythology, Demeter's grief and joy mirrored the changing seasons. These archetypes were not mere symbols, they were reflections of universal truths. They represented the forces of creation, destruction, intuition, and transformation that exist within all of us, regardless of gender. The sacred feminine was seen as the counterpart to the sacred masculine, and together they formed a dynamic balance, the yin and yang of existence. But as history unfolded, this balance began to shift. With the rise of patriarchal systems, the sacred feminine was gradually suppressed. The goddesses were dethroned, their temples abandoned, and their wisdom dismissed as superstition. The intuitive, nurturing, and cyclical aspects of life were devalued, replaced by linear thinking, conquest, and control. This suppression wasn't just a loss for women, it was a loss for humanity as a whole. By silencing the sacred feminine, we severed our connection to the natural world, to our inner wisdom, and to the deeper mysteries of existence. The result? A world out of balance, plagued by disconnection, exploitation, and a relentless pursuit of power. Yet the sacred feminine has never truly disappeared. It has lingered in the shadows, preserved in myths, rituals, and the whispers of those who remember. It is present in the cycles of the moon, the ebb and flow of the tides, and the quiet voice of intuition that speaks when we are still. In esoteric traditions, the sacred feminine is often associated with the divine energy of Shakti, the creative force that animates the universe. It is the Shekinah of Kabbalistic mysticism, the Sophia of Gnostic teachings, and the Great Mother of indigenous spiritualities. These traditions remind us that the sacred feminine is not just a historical relic, it is a living force, one that we can access and embody in our own lives. But how do we reconnect with this forgotten power? How do we awaken the archetypes that lie dormant within us? To answer these questions, we must first understand the archetypes themselves, their essence, their gifts, and the lessons they hold. Let us now step into the heart of the sacred feminine and explore the archetypes that have guided humanity for millennia. The sacred feminine archetypes are not just abstract ideas or mythological figures. They are living energies, universal patterns that exist within all of us. They represent the many faces of the feminine essence, its power, its wisdom, its creativity, and its mystery. These archetypes are like mirrors, reflecting the different aspects of our inner world and guiding us through the cycles of life. Let us begin with three of the most well-known archetypes: the Maiden, the Mother, and the Crone. These archetypes are often associated with the phases of the moon, waxing, full, and waning, and they symbolize the cycles of birth, growth, and transformation. The Maiden, the spirit of new beginnings. The Maiden is the archetype of youth, curiosity, and untamed potential. She is the springtime of life, full of wonder and possibility. In mythology, she appears as Persephone, the innocent daughter who is both the bringer of life and the queen of the underworld. The Maiden represents the energy of new beginnings, the courage to explore the unknown, and the freedom to dream without limits. But the Maiden is not just about innocence. She also carries the power of transformation. Like the waxing moon, she grows and evolves, teaching us to embrace change and trust the process of becoming. In our lives, the Maiden calls us to reconnect with our sense of wonder, to take risks, and to honor the creative spark within us. The Mother, the nurturer and creator. The Mother archetype is the embodiment of love, compassion, and creation. She is the full moon, radiant and abundant, the giver of life and the sustainer of all things. In mythology, she appears as Demeter, the goddess of the harvest, or as Gaia, the Earth Mother who nurtures all living beings. The Mother teaches us the power of unconditional love, not just for others, but for ourselves. She reminds us that creation is not limited to giving birth to children. It is the act of bringing anything into existence, whether it's a work of art, a relationship, or a new version of ourselves. But the Mother also carries the shadow of overextension and self-sacrifice. She teaches us the importance of balance, of giving without depleting ourselves, of nurturing without losing our own identity. In our lives, the Mother calls us to create, to nurture, and to find joy in the act of giving. The Crone, the keeper of wisdom. The Crone is the archetype of wisdom, intuition, and endings. She is the waning moon, the autumn of life, and the gateway to the mysteries of death and rebirth. In mythology, she appears as Hecate, the goddess of the crossroads, or as Baba Yaga, the wise and fearsome witch of Slavic folklore. The Crone represents the power of letting go, of releasing what no longer serves us. She teaches us to embrace the cycles of life and to find strength in the unknown. The Crone is the keeper of ancient wisdom, the guide who helps us navigate the dark nights of the soul. In our lives, the Crone calls us to trust our intuition, to honor the lessons of the past, and to find beauty in the process of transformation. She reminds us that every ending is also a beginning, and that true wisdom comes from embracing the full spectrum of life's experiences. The interplay of the archetypes. These three archetypes, the Maiden, the Mother, and the Crone, are not separate entities. They are interconnected, flowing into one another like the phases of the moon. At different times in our lives, we embody different archetypes, and sometimes we carry all three within us at once. For example, you might be in the Maiden phase of starting a new project, the Mother phase of nurturing a relationship, and the Crone phase of letting go of an old habit, all at the same time. The key is to recognize which archetype is calling to you in the moment, and to honor its wisdom. But these are just the beginning. The sacred feminine is vast and multifaceted, and there are other archetypes, such as the warrior, the lover, and the priestess, that hold their own unique lessons and powers. In the next section, we will dive deeper into these lesser-known archetypes, exploring their mysteries and uncovering how they can guide us on our spiritual journey. Beyond the Maiden, Mother, and Crone lies a rich tapestry of sacred feminine archetypes, each offering unique insights and energies. These archetypes are less commonly discussed, but no less powerful. They represent the deeper, more nuanced aspects of the feminine essence, forces that challenge, inspire, and awaken us to our fullest potential. The warrior, the protector and activator. The warrior archetype is the embodiment of strength, courage, and determination. She is the fierce protector of what is sacred, the one who stands unwavering in the face of adversity. In mythology, she appears as Athena, the Greek goddess of wisdom and war, or as Durga, the Hindu goddess who rides into battle to defeat the forces of chaos. The warrior teaches us that the sacred feminine is not passive. It is a force of action and empowerment. She reminds us that boundaries are sacred, that it is not only acceptable, but necessary to fight for what we believe in. The warrior calls us to step into our power, to face our fears, and to take bold action in the service of truth and justice. In our lives, the warrior archetype might show up when we need to advocate for ourselves or others, when we are called to stand up against injustice, or when we must summon the inner strength to overcome challenges. She teaches us that true power comes from aligning our actions with our values. The lover, the embodiment of passion and connection. The lover archetype is the essence of passion, sensuality, and connection. She is the muse, the one who awakens our senses and reminds us of the beauty and pleasure of life. In mythology, she appears as Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love, or as Radha, the beloved of Krishna in Hindu tradition. The lover teaches us the importance of intimacy, not just with others, but with ourselves and the world around us. She reminds us that life is meant to be experienced fully, with an open heart and a deep appreciation for the present moment. The lover calls us to embrace our desires, to cultivate joy, and to honor the sacredness of our relationships. But the lover also challenges us to confront our fears of vulnerability and rejection. She teaches us that true connection requires authenticity and the courage to be seen as we are. In our lives, the lover archetype might guide us to deepen our relationships, to express our creativity, or to rediscover the simple pleasures of being alive. The priestess, the bridge between worlds. The priestess archetype is the keeper of spiritual wisdom, the one who walks between the seen and unseen realms. She is the oracle, the healer, and the guide who helps others connect with the divine. In mythology, she appears as Isis, the Egyptian goddess of magic, or as the high priestess in the tarot, veiled in mystery and intuition. The priestess teaches us to trust our inner knowing, to honor the sacred, and to cultivate a deep connection with the spiritual dimensions of life. She reminds us that we are not separate from the divine. We are vessels through which divine energy flows. The priestess calls us to listen to our intuition, to seek the truth beyond appearances, and to serve as a channel for healing and transformation. In our lives, the priestess archetype might show up when we feel called to explore spiritual practices, to develop our intuitive abilities, or to guide others on their own journeys of awakening. She teaches us that the sacred feminine is not just about nurturing and creating. It is also about holding space for the mysteries of existence. The shadow side of the archetypes. Each archetype carries a shadow side, a distortion of its energy that arises when it is out of balance. For example, the warrior can become overly aggressive or controlling, the lover can fall into obsession or dependency, and the priestess can become disconnected from the physical world. These shadows are not something to fear, they are opportunities for growth. By recognizing and integrating the shadow aspects of the archetypes, we can bring their energies into harmony and unlock their full potential. The archetypes as a map for inner growth. Together, these archetypes form a map for inner growth and self-discovery. They remind us that the sacred feminine is not a single fixed identity. It is a dynamic, ever-changing force that flows through all aspects of life. By working with these archetypes, we can access the full spectrum of our feminine power, our strength, our intuition, our creativity, and our capacity for love. But how do we begin to embody these archetypes in our daily lives? How can we use their wisdom to heal, transform, and awaken? In the next section, we will explore practical techniques and exercises for connecting with the sacred feminine archetypes and integrating their energies into our lives. The sacred feminine archetypes are not just ideas to ponder, they are energies to embody, forces to awaken within ourselves. By consciously working with these archetypes, we can access their wisdom, heal old wounds, and align with the natural rhythms of life. Here are practical steps and techniques to help you connect with these archetypes and integrate their power into your daily life. 1. Recognizing the archetypes within you. The first step is to identify which archetypes are most active in your life right now. Reflect on the following questions. Are you in a phase of new beginnings, exploring possibilities like the Maiden? Are you nurturing a project, relationship, or aspect of yourself like the Mother? Are you letting go of the old and seeking wisdom like the Crone? Do you feel called to take bold action like the Warrior, deepen your connections like the Lover, or explore spiritual truths like the Priestess? Journaling can be a powerful tool for this process. Write about where you are in your life and which archetypes resonate with your current experiences. This self-awareness is the foundation for working with these energies. 2. Meditation and visualization. Meditation is a profound way to connect with the sacred feminine archetypes. Here's a simple visualization exercise. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Imagine yourself standing in a sacred temple, surrounded by the energy of the archetype you wish to connect with. If you're working with the Maiden, envision a vibrant spring meadow. For the Mother, imagine a lush garden in full bloom. For the Crone, see yourself in a quiet forest under the light of the waning moon. Invite the archetype to appear before you. Ask her for guidance, wisdom, or support. Listen to what she has to say and trust the insights that arise. You can repeat this practice with different archetypes, allowing their energies to guide you in different areas of your life. 3. Rituals and offerings. Rituals are a powerful way to honor the sacred feminine and align with her archetypes. These don't have to be elaborate. Even simple acts can carry deep meaning. For example, light a candle to honor the Crone and reflect on what you need to release. Create a small altar with flowers, seeds, or symbols of abundance to connect with the Mother. Dance, paint, or write poetry to awaken the lover's creative energy. The key is intention. Approach these rituals with a sense of reverence and openness, and they will become a bridge to the archetypes. 4. Embodying the archetypes in daily life. The sacred feminine is not confined to meditation or ritual. It is meant to be lived. Here are some ways to embody the archetypes in your daily life. The Maiden. Try something new, take a creative risk, or spend time in nature to rekindle your sense of wonder. The Mother. Practice self-care, nurture your relationships, or dedicate time to a creative project. The Crone. Reflect on the lessons of your past, trust your intuition, and embrace the beauty of simplicity. The Warrior. Set clear boundaries, stand up for your values, and take decisive action toward your goals. The Lover. Cultivate gratitude, express your emotions, and savor the small joys of life. The Priestess. Explore spiritual practices, study esoteric wisdom, or hold space for others to heal and grow. By consciously embodying these archetypes, you can bring their energies into every aspect of your life, from your relationships, to your work, to your personal growth. 5. Overcoming challenges. Working with the sacred feminine archetypes can bring up challenges, especially if you've been disconnected from these energies for a long time. Here are some tips for overcoming common obstacles. Resistance. If you feel resistance to an archetype, ask yourself why. For example, if the Crone feels intimidating, it might be because you fear letting go or facing the unknown. Lean into this discomfort. It often holds the key to transformation. Imbalance. If one archetype dominates your life, explore its shadow side. For example, if you're stuck in the Mother's energy of giving, practice receiving and setting boundaries. Doubt. If you doubt your ability to connect with these archetypes, remember that they are already within you. Trust the process and be patient with yourself. 6. Creating a sacred feminine practice. To deepen your connection with the sacred feminine, consider creating a daily or weekly practice. This could include morning meditations to set your intention for the day, journaling to reflect on how the archetypes are showing up in your life, rituals to honor the cycles of the moon or the changing seasons, reading or studying myths, stories, and teachings about the sacred feminine. Over time, these practices will help you cultivate a deeper relationship with the archetypes and integrate their wisdom into your life. The sacred feminine is not something to be found outside of yourself. It is a part of who you are. By working with these archetypes, you can awaken to your own power, wisdom, and creativity. And in doing so, you can help restore balance to a world that desperately needs it. In the next section, we will bring everything together with a powerful conclusion that will leave you inspired to continue this journey. The sacred feminine archetypes are more than ancient symbols or abstract ideas. They are living energies, timeless forces that flow through each of us and through the fabric of existence itself. They remind us of the beauty and power of life's cycles, the wisdom of intuition, and the transformative potential of creation and destruction. In reconnecting with these archetypes, we are not just reclaiming forgotten wisdom, we are healing a profound imbalance that has shaped our world for centuries. The suppression of the sacred feminine has left us disconnected from nature, from each other, and from ourselves. But the archetypes show us the way back. They guide us to embrace the fullness of who we are, to honor both our light and our shadow, and to live in harmony with the rhythms of life. As we've explored, the Maiden teaches us to embrace new beginnings and trust the process of growth. The Mother shows us the power of love and creation. The Crone reminds us of the beauty of endings and the wisdom of letting go. The Warrior calls us to stand in our truth. The Lover invites us to savor life's beauty, and the Priestess bridges the worlds of the seen and unseen. Together, they form a map for self-discovery, healing, and transformation. But this journey is not just personal, it is collective. As more of us awaken to the sacred feminine, we contribute to a larger shift in consciousness. we begin to restore balance in a world that has long been dominated by division and disconnection. We create space for compassion, creativity, and collaboration to flourish. So, I leave you with this question. Which archetype is calling to you right now? Is it the Maiden, urging you to take a leap of faith? The Mother, asking you to nurture yourself and others? The Crone, guiding you to release what no longer serves you? Or perhaps the Warrior, the Lover, or the Priestess, each with their own unique gifts? Take a moment to reflect. Listen to the quiet voice within you, the one that knows the truth. And then, take the first step. Whether it's a small act of self-care, a bold decision, or a moment of stillness to connect with your inner wisdom. The sacred feminine is not something outside of you. It is a part of you, waiting to be remembered. And as you awaken to its power, you will find that it has the potential to transform not only your life, but the world around you. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the forgotten power of the sacred feminine archetypes. If this video resonated with you, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Which archetype speaks to you the most? How will you begin to embody its energy in your life? And if you're ready to dive deeper, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more explorations of ancient wisdom, esoteric teachings, and practical spiritual techniques. Until next time, remember, the sacred feminine is calling. Will you answer?